Hello, it's me, it's Jacob Outlook. No, I am not dead. You may have noticed there is a huge scarcity in videos this year. Not like that's terribly unusual for me. I mean, I've gone on procrastination breaks in the past, but there have been a lot of stressful life events piling up one after the other, and also my first year in college. So I haven't really had the time, but also not the energy to make videos. But I promise, in 2024, I will start making videos again, don't you worry. But for now, I want to make up for that poll I made a while ago on what movies should I make a full video about, and just go through all of those movies and just talk about them very briefly to make a very half-assed last video of the year. If I stammer, if nothing I say makes sense, I am doing this without a script, and I hope your ears can keep up, or whatever. I am bad with words. I'm bad with words. The movies we have are Across the Spiderverse, Elemental, Ruby Gilman, Mutant Mayhem, Monkey King, Wish, Suzume. I'll go ahead and throw Boy and Heron in there too, and I guess like other anime movies. So to start off with, Across the Spider-Verse. I don't know what to say that hasn't already been said, so I'll probably just reiterate it. I was very hyped to find out that this was going to be a two-parter with Across and then Beyond in, like, I don't know, 8 years. I prefer it to be 8 years to give the animators time. That's another big thing. The people were super stressed and super overworked to death on this movie. But, like, aside from that, this movie is so good. I love the animation. It has some of the best animation in any film. It's more like a celebration of animation. Like Spider-Man India has all that cell shading. Hobie has the magazines and whatnot. I love everything about it. I love Spot. And the actual story, I think, is the most interesting component of the film, despite, being incomplete. Dealing with Miles and Gwen getting wrapped up in this interdimensional Spider-Man society that's trying to patch up mistakes left behind by the multiversal incident in the first film, and then how Miguel imposes this idea of Spider-Man onto Miles, and then Miles is like, no, Spider-Man shouldn't have to go through all that trauma and tragedy to be Spider-Man. That doesn't have to be a part of this identity, which kind of serves as like a meta commentary, and that I really like that. Now, despite like this movie wholly deserving the hype, and I am very glad it's gonna win some awards, I don't think it's as good as the first movie. It's kind of like, I view this movie very similar to the Princess Principal movies. They are masterpieces of episodes, but on their own are kind of like, their lack of conclusions shoot themselves in the foot a little bit. Especially when in Across the Spider-Verse, it throws a lot at you in the last 30 minutes. Still, I really love this movie, and I'm not going to talk about it that much right now, because everyone else has already said their take on it. Elemental. I do not know why people were so skeptical of Elemental before it came out. It was just so random. People weren't so excited about it. But I am, and even though it kind of bombed the box office the first time, I am glad that it recovered internationally. I'm very glad about that, because it really is an amazing romance movie. We don't get a lot of romance movies in the family market, at least here in the States right now. So I'm glad Pixar went back to this again. Even though the Elemental world doesn't make any sense, it provides for a lot of squash and stretch and beautiful cartoony animation. I just love seeing how these characters interact with each other physically. And the romance itself, it's not Wally and Eve levels of amazing, not even like top 10 or 20 animated couples of all time, but Ember and Wade are very cute together. And I love how this movie uses the Fire People as an allegory for, well, it's not really an allegory for immigrants, because they literally are immigrants. The people who give you so much, who give you so many opportunities, and how on earth do you repay all that? I really like how it delved into that and that sentiment. Ruby Gillman. Unlike Spiderverse and Elemental, this movie is not very, it's not that great. It's not really good. It's just kind of okay. But I have a deep fondness for this movie, mainly because it feels very Disney Channel original movie to me. Like, there's this quirky, insecure girl who wants to fit in, but is kind of a dork and discovers she has superpowers. Surprise, she comes from a long line of princesses and is royalty, but the evil, ice-cold, popular girl wants to become the best of the best, so they have to duke it out in this big kaiju battle. And it caps off the film with a teen romance where the shy girl learns how to confess, and the two go together to prom. It is more than just that, but like I just love it for that. I just love how it does this. Otherwise, the animation is very fluid and expressive, and I love the sort of rubber hose nature of the Kraken designs. Ruby and Connor, I think that's his name, have a lot of geek, adorable chemistry. I wish there was more of them. Yeah, I like this movie a little bit, but like it has a lot of issues, don't get me wrong. Teenage Mutant Mayhem, the movie that Rise fans are sour towards cause yeah, what they did to Rise was kind of uncalled for. Now, Mutant Mayhem is a very good movie, maybe even great. It's awesome. I love the animation style, the roughness, the toughness, the gritty, like what's it called, graffiti look of it all. And I like that the teenage turtles are played by actual teenagers. Nicholas Cantu. I'm not gonna make a joke about that. Anyway, I love the chemistry between all of these, but there's not that much development and character yet. We'll have to wait and see how the sequels play out. But I do kind of like the lower interpretations of the turtles' usual personalities. Raph is very, like, excitable. Leo is more like the responsible older sibling. Donnie's like computers and anime. And Mike is just chill. Mikey is just chill. I like Superfly. He's a pretty good villain. I love him as a connection, as a reflection of Hamato Yoshi. Yeah. Monkey King, very bad, very, very bad movie, which is a shame because it's from Pearl Studio, and I rewatched Over the Moon recently, and it's better than I remember. I would push it up in my 2020 ranking. So to see like Pearl going like this, it's just kind of eh. Now, to be fair, Over the Moon had Glenn Keane on it, whereas this had, I believe, Real FX Studios helped with this. I'm not too sure. I'll have to go back to see it. This interpretation of the Monkey King is interesting, but the execution is very, very bad. The idea is like he's always been alone and was born with no family, and he was judged, and that gave him the idea, hey, maybe I don't belong with anyone down here, but I belong with the immortals, the gods in the heavens. And that's where he gets his ego and selfishness. But the thing is, it doesn't really play into his insecurities. It plays more into his selfishness. That, combined with impeccable voice performance by Jimmy O. Yang. Oh, I hate this character. I think he is my most hated character of the year. That's pretty much all I have to say. Like, there's this girl, there's Buddha, whatever, and then the animation, I guess the dragon guy. But like, that's all I really have to say about this movie. I just hate the monkey. Now, Wish. Yeah, it's not very good. It's not terrible either. People make such a big deal about this being bad. It's not really. I feel like I'm one of the few people who actually likes its cel-shaded CGI design. But for as much as it plays into, whoa, we wanted to make this look like classic Disney. This was originally going to be in 2D, and then you decided no. Asha would have been more interesting as a sarcastic a-hole than this another adorable, quirky girl. Ooh. But, like, she's fine. Everyone else is fine. I like the villain Son. I like the villain until he turned into, like, one-dimensional, a dash of whatever the hell needs to be in this poison potion or whatever. Scepter? I don't know. I forgot a lot of the stuff that happened. The climax is super, super lame. It is... yeah. Wish isn't all too terrible. It's still competently scripted and has decent structure. I do love this movie's take on wishes. They're essential to your whole being. But other than that, it's just kinda... it's eh. Alright, now for Suzume, which I watched very, very early into this year. I was gonna make a video on it right after the Mario movie review. But like, this is a perfect conclusion to Shinkai's disaster movie trilogy with Your Name, Weathering with You, and Suzume. Instead of meteors and climate change, now we're dealing with earthquakes. Wow! I do genuinely love the story. It is super wide and epic in scope, but the characters aren't anything too special. The movie deals with Suzume's trauma over surviving the 3/11 disaster, but most of its emotional significance, I'll call it, is brought up towards the end. She has good chemistry with Sota until you remember that he turned into a chair. Like, all the friendly banter is wholesome, but then you realize she's saying stuff like, "Is it okay if I step on you?" And I'm like, it's funny. But I love how Shinkai directs the whole charming and entertaining comedy of the film. Actually, in all three of his disaster movies, it's kind of amazing and a lot of fun to just sit through. Overall, I'd say this is a very, very excellent movie. It works spectacularly as a story, where its themes intertwine with grief, coming of age, romance, and parental plights. But it's probably my least favorite of his trilogy. Like, Weathering with You and Your Name are some of my favorite movies of all time, and Suzume is, I mean, it's in my top 70? It's in my top 70. Yeah. There, give or take. Boy and the Heron. I saw this very recently in a theater. I had to pay a lot of money. That sucked. But Robert Pattinson, but also Karen Fukuhara voices Lady Hime, I think was her name. And I just love everything to do with her. I watched Pokemon Concierge, easily the best animated show of the year, aside from Owl House maybe. But yeah, back to Boy and the Heron. The whole story and, like, I guess magical world of it all feels more dreamlike than probably any other Ghibli movie. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense on first viewing, and I've still yet to watch it a second time, but it's all just a lot of fun and very, very, I guess, investing, if that's the right word to sit through. It is pretty hard to get in the headspace of the protagonist, but he is likable enough to follow this journey on. And I do love the message of just living on and not getting caught up in the harsh realities of the past. Other anime movies, Lonely Castle in the Mirror took me heavily by surprise. I love it so much. You're gonna be shocked where I rank it in the 2023 list. Blue Thermal is interesting. It's like doing 5 things at once. I guess if you want to watch Violet Evergarden in 20 minutes, this is how you do it. Lupin the Third versus Cat's Eye. That was my first animated movie of the year back in February. It's fun. Go watch it. Yeah. That is basically it for me. and I will see you all in the 2023 movie video. Or rather, I would say that if I wasn't also working on the 2023 series video, and instead of doing top 3 and bottom 3, I'm gonna do a top 10. Not as ambitious as a top 20. I watched no anime this year until like 2 days ago. I'm in love with the Villainess. That's an amazing show. You should go watch it. Otherwise, I am gonna go edit this video as very minimalistic as possible so that I can take care of myself. Okie dokie. Yeah. Bye. I'll cut it off right here.